Bernardo and Arthur Lima were born conjoined, sharing not only the top of their heads and part of their brains, but also a major vein that connects to the heart. Doctors believed they had no chance of survival. Eventually, however, the boys underwent surgery to be separated. You won't believe what they looked like after the surgery. Bernardo and Arthur had lived with their parents in the Raréma region of Brazil since their birth. When they were almost 2, their parents traveled with them to a hospital in Rio de Janeiro so doctors could perform the separation surgery. But should they have gone on this trip at all? Would the surgery be successful? Were they making a big mistake, as some doctors had warned? The twins' parents, Antonio and Adriele Lima, were married for many years without children. They wanted children of their own, but all their efforts were in vain. It was a heartbreaking situation for Adriele and Antonio as they struggled to conceive. They prayed every night for God to send them children and promised Allah they would cherish whichever child He sent their way. Sadly, there were times when both of them broke down and cried themselves to sleep. After many years of waiting, the couple finally had a reason to celebrate when Adriele was confirmed pregnant after missing her period and showing pregnancy symptoms. They were on cloud 9 and were certain that things would go well, but that wouldn't be the case. In the 10th week of the pregnancy, Adriele and Antonio went to the hospital for a routine ultrasound, and there they received news that left them reeling from shock. With a heavy heart, the doctor told them that the twins Adriele was carrying were craniophagus, meaning they were connected with fused skulls and intertwined brains that shared vital veins, an extremely rare condition that occurs once in 1.2 million births. The couple's hearts sank at this news, and for a few minutes neither of them could utter a word. Antonio eventually mustered the courage to ask the doctor about the twins' chances of survival. According to the doctor, the boys had a low chance of survival, and even if they did survive, they would lack a quality life. They would be in pain and discomfort most of the time. Bearing this in mind, the doctor advised that the best option was to terminate the pregnancy. I know it hurts to hear this, but think about how you would feel seeing your kids struggle to do normal and easy things. No child deserves to come into the world to suffer, the doctor explained. The doctor's words broke Adriele's heart. No, doctor, don't say that. I can't take out my babies, my precious babies, Adriele stuttered. Can't anything be done? What about surgery to separate them? Antonio asked impatiently, with eyes filled with despair. The doctor shook his head and explained the severity of the boys' condition. He told them that not only were the twins joined at the top of their heads and part of their brains, but they were also sharing a major vein that connects to the heart, making it extremely dangerous to separate them. Despite the doctor's insistence that there was no way out, Adriele and Antonio couldn't bring themselves to see things from his perspective. How could they give up their babies after waiting for so long to have them? Never, not now or in their next lives. There was a way out, they were sure, and together they would find it. The weeks that followed were miserable for the couple. They lived in fear, and each day seemed to blend into the other. There were times when their strength and faith failed them, and they wondered if they were doing the right thing by keeping the babies. As weeks passed by, the couple began to put necessary plans in place to welcome their babies. They constructed a special crib for them, since they would have to be together for God knows how long until a miracle happened. In due time, Adriele was wheeled into the operating room for a C-section. Thankfully, the surgery was a success, and even though the boys were born conjoined, their vitals were stable. This strengthened the couple's faith, and they vowed to do all in their power to see that their boys get separated. They were aware that separating the twins would require a team of medical experts willing to take a chance on their babies, so they reached out to various medical institutions. Unfortunately, their hopes fell flat when doctors rejected their case, saying it was impossible to separate the boys. Disheartened, the couple was at their wits' end. They had come too far only to suddenly realize that they had been walking towards a dead end. Morning and night, the couple prayed, cried, and hoped for a miracle from above. Not long after, Antonio received a life-changing call from his high school colleague, Armando. Armando was a health worker who worked at Gemini Unwind, a charity organization dedicated to caring for children with complications. Armando had gotten wind of their story via mutual acquaintances and reached out to them. He invited them to come over to Rio de Janeiro so they could meet with the doctors at Gemini Unwind. He was convinced that they could help the boys. Willing to do anything to get the twins separated, the couple took the boys, who were about 18 months old, to Rio. At the hospital, they met Noor ul Awaz Gilani, a pediatric surgeon and co-founder of Gemini Unwind. Dr. Gilani was passionate about the boys' case from the get-go and made their parents feel at ease. He was the first doctor to tell the couple that the boys' situation wasn't hopeless and that they could be separated despite the severity of the condition. Hearing those words, the couple became more hopeful than ever. Although the doctors at Gemini Unwind were certain that the boys could be separated, they knew they had a long road ahead of them. The surgery was high risk for several reasons. For one, Bernardo and Arthur were already too old for the required surgery. According to the doctors at Gemini Unwind, the ideal age to separate craniopagus twins is between 6 to 12 months old. Regardless, the doctors didn't give up on Bernardo and his twin brother. They were determined to put a lasting smile on the faces of the boys and their parents. Before the surgery, a medical team spent months working to prepare for the upcoming procedures. Doctors scanned the twins' skulls, brains, and soft tissue to create a virtual mirror to study. Surgeons in both England and Brazil collaborated through a virtual reality operating theater to painstakingly map out how best to separate the twins' fused brains without impairing function or severing vital veins. They also performed trial surgeries across continents virtually. Finally, everything needed for the surgery was put in place, and just a few months before Bernardo and Arthur's 4th birthday, they were wheeled into the operating room to undergo the final round of surgery that could make or break the boys' lives. While the surgery was ongoing, Antonio and Adriele waited for the results with bated breath. The procedure lasted the entire night, and they stood on their feet, not even sleeping a wink. After what felt like ages, Dr. Gilani finally came out of the theater and walked toward the couple, flashing a smile of victory at them. "The surgery is a total success," the doctor announced, beaming with joy. Without a care in the world, Antonio and Adriele screamed at the top of their voices and pulled the surgeon into their arms for a warm embrace. "Thank you. You did it. We did it. God did it." They cried, trying to hold back tears, but soon the tears flowed freely. The boys were wheeled out of the operating room while the staff clapped and hugged each other. It was an incredible moment for everyone involved. Words could not describe how Adriele and Antonio felt when they saw their once conjoined twins lying separated, face to face, and holding hands on their hospital beds. Can you imagine that? It was the first time the brothers could look at each other. How happy they must have felt. Our joy knew no bounds. It felt so good knowing that they could now do whatever they wanted at different times. We were so happy that they could finally see each other, Adriele shared. Take a look at them right after the surgery. Aren't they just adorable? I'm glad that the surgery to separate them was successful. The twins are happy, living their best lives, and excelling in their studies. I wish them the best in life. What do you think about this story? I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.